Tommy Morrison will remain one of the most tragic figures in the history of the ring. In the 90s, a blonde giant with a chiseled silhouette embodied the ideal knockout. Staggering speed, crushing series, and $1 million blow brought him to the top of the sport. But the career of a prominent heavyweight in the prime of life ended as suddenly as irrevocably. Today, we will remember the legendary power and fateful path of the great white hope of boxing. Born on the 2nd of January, 1969th year, Thomas David Morrison grew up in the south of the United States, a descendant of Native Americans on his mother's side and an Irishman on his father's side. The future champion was a prodigy of nature itself. Athletic talent determined his success in American football and basketball. But the real sporting gift was revealed in the boxing gym, where, according to family tradition, 10-year-old Tommy was brought by his father.
But boxing is something I feel like I'm just a step ahead.
Already at 15, Morrison was so impressive in appearance that he fought with adults using forged documents. By 1988, when Tommy graduated from high school, his asset exceeded 200 amateur matches. After graduating, the 19-year-old fighter won several serious championships without delay. However, the loss of Olympic qualifiers to Ray Mercer, who would later take gold in Seoul, prompted Morrison to break out of the clamped framework of gratuitous boxing. Being a distant relative of the movie star John Wayne, Tommy took his nickname Duke and, in November of the 88th year, went out to conquer the professional ring. Even then, his height was 188 centimeters, and his weight was dangerously close to 100. But Morrison was especially singled out by the patented left hook. None of the starting 5 opponents could hold out at least until the end of the first 3 minutes. It was only in the 6th speech of February 89th that the Duke met with a semblance of competition. In the beginning of the fight with Morning Ali, Tommy caught several straight lines from distances. In response, he connected the crown left side, followed by single ones on the right. The African was not going anywhere, and the 3rd round steadfastly took the blows. However, in the 9th minute, Ali still lingered on the firing line.
There it is. Come on, punch. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. A delayed reaction on that.
In the 4th segment, another clinch decided the outcome of the meeting.
Or finish it. Yep. Good right uppercut. That'll be the winner.
That evening, the right uppercut became the weapon of victory, and twice mowed down the opponent in a technical knockout. The canonical style of the puncher, always aimed at knockout, did not let Tommy down in further performances. Morrison invariably broke through to the near and drove through the side with uppercuts. By the summer, he packed the asset with 11 opponents who fell asleep in a row.
Morrison delights his hometown Kansas City fans with a 2-round.
The breakthrough into the elite brought the transition under the wing of the famous manager Bill Catton, responsible for the ascent to the title of Mike Tyson. Having joined the team of professionals in the corner, Morrison went on the path of title conquest. Justifying flattering comparisons with Tyson, in August of the 89th, the Duke went through the hull for 3 minutes hard, in the hope of spectacularly knocking down Mike Robinson. Starting sometimes he materialized in the last seconds of the round.
bridge up the body, and Robinson goes down.
Not having had time to arrange a spectacular knockout with a body shot in the first segment, Tommy finished what he started in the second.
Big left hand, and Robinson's in trouble again. I think we'll see. Huge body shot, and down goes Robinson.
With the trailer in the same frame, Morrison laid the next fight in 2 weeks.
Man on the ropes here, getting the best of it. Incidentally, as an amateur, he lost in the Olympic trials. A big right hand, followed up on the left by Morrison and Shelby.
In September, Penis, with 15 knockouts and 18 wins, vowed to stay away from the hook in Tommy. But he didn't stay on his own 2 feet for long.
Legs back under it now, but he was really rocking with that turn. There's an uppercut, and that's probably going to be it.
Dave Jacko, who was proud of 18 knockouts with 21 wins, also lost the wrist game in seconds.
Right-hander. There's a left hand. Jacko's down and probably out.
The left side on the jump turned into a perfect storm, de-energizing Jacko with one touch. The Duke's upcoming title match was now being talked about in earnest. Tommy Duke Morrison has proven his talents in the ring. He is related to John Wayne, whose real name is Marion Morrison. The famous manager Bill Catton leads Tommy to fight for the title with Mike Tyson. Their meeting could be the duel of the century. Confirming expectations, Morrison did not delay with the experienced Harry Terrell.
Right hand, and he lands a left and has the opponent protecting himself or trying to against the ropes.
Forcing the referee to open the scoring in the second minute with a short left side, Tommy put a bold dot with a long overhand.
Томми поставил жирную точку длинным оверхендом.
227 pounds here. Oh, big right hand! He stopped this fight. He has got to his feet, but he stopped the fight. Another first-round knockout.
Trail steadfastly endured the application knockdown, but soon he was dangling on the ropes like a puppet with cut strings.
27 pounds here. Oh, big right hand!
In just 1 year of his professional career, 20-year-old Morrison had 17 winning performances, 15 of which ended with bright knockouts. Tommy was publicly called the White Hope of boxing. At the same time, a hot temper in the ring and a high-pitched blow brought him not only the glory of the flagship of the heavy category. A series of killer finishes has attracted unexpected attention outside the ropes. Sylvester Stallone was the most impressed with Morrison's abilities, inviting him to play the role of Tommy Gunn in the upcoming Rocky V. Even before the main filming, the Duke held 2 fights aimed at promoting the upcoming picture. In one of the meetings, Morrison changed his wardrobe for the famous shorts from the movie franchise, and Stallone himself was present in his corner. On the big screen, Tommy had no great difficulty reproducing his corporate identity. An abundance of left side and ring-shaking right ones is attached. Morrison woke up famous, and now the already popular ladies' man had no end of women.
Can you put an estimate on the number of women?
I'd easily say 1 a day. You know, that he never knew.
But I'm hungry, like you were. All I'm asking for is a chance. And just 1 shot.
After resting on the set for 6 months, the newly born Tommy Gunn returned in June 1990. But having broken his arm on a passing opponent, Morrison sat on the bench for 4 months. In the second comeback, the injury did not prevent the Duke from replenishing his portfolio with another knockout. A month later, against Mike Acey, Duke confidently scored a right knockdown. I decided to do the same by making a reference left hook. In the 91st, Tommy Gunn continued to gain momentum. The crazy schedule of fights bore fruit, and in 6 months, he wrote 4 harsh stops on his resume. The heavyweights of the first echelon were also on the list of his victims. Former double UBCC champion Pinklin Thomas withstood an entire round of shooting. But from the Seraph, he did not come out of the corner on the second. Also, the former challenger James Styles could not stand the pressure, who collapsed after every touch of Tommy's left. Having been knocked down twice or met defeat on the ropes. Thus, in 2.5 years in big-time sports, Morrison consistently removed 28 opponents from the road, and only 4 of them did not go to air their heads on canvas. Tommy confidently surpassed many world champions in popularity and took the coveted place of a contender for the belt.
A lot of people are pretty satisfied with saying, hey, I fought for the heavyweight championship of the world. We don't want to fight for it. We want to fight for it and win it.
In October of the 91st, 22-year-old Morrison went up against the undefeated champion of WBU Ray Mercer. 3 years have passed since their amateur meeting. During this time, Mercer managed to win Olympic gold. Turning professional, he took the title of the World Boxing Organization and completed 12 of the 17 performances by knockout. In the face-to-face confrontation, Tommy was the undisputed favorite and easily took the opening rounds.
Mercer immediately says that didn't hurt. Silly with the angles and the crouching.
Starting with a false jab, he instantly sent a sonorous series through the floors.
Well, Tony Perez shouldn't let an Morrison, he buzzed Mercer with that. Mercer's holding on to the back of his neck.
With quick combinations, Morrison dominated on the short side as well. However, the lack of composure showed itself already in the second segment.
Morrison missing 3 times wildly. That takes a lot out of your system.
Mercer also fought a dirty fight and clinched a lot, exhausting the aggressive Duke. At the beginning of the third segment, Tommy was close to the finish line. But at the end, I was exhausted and began to miss.
That was round, Joe. Right over the top. Right there. Mercer saw it. Morrison 7 thrown by Mercer, 9 landed.
Mercer got hit again and went to the exchange.
Another right hand, and Mercer now comes on the attack with 2 right hands. And here comes Mercer to the delight of the crowd.
For the first time in 30 fights, the exhausted Duke was forced to literally survive.
The left hand from Mercer.
The 5th round was marked by the most brutal moment in the history of the ring.
Mercer with 2 good right hands. And now Mercer on Morrison in the corner. And Mercer's all over him. And Morrison in trouble. And Morrison goes down for the first time in his career. And that is it. That's it. It is over. Ray Mercer has won it. He successfully defended his...
On the approach, Morrison missed a short right hook. Tommy, who had never fallen, was the victim of a ferocious finishing and a tragically late referee.
He unloads on him, and Tommy Morrison
in the ropes so we cannot go down. Like, look at this. Has tangled in the ropes. Oh fuck. Bro. I mean, it is one of the worst costs I ever seeing. Look at that.
Mercer with 2 good right hands. And now Mercer on Morrison in the corner. And Mercer's all over him. And Morrison in trouble. And Morrison goes down for the first time.
After missing a few months, the Duke entered the ring in February of the 92nd year. Tommy Gunn's placing on the title rails was confirmed by a series of 4 convincing victories, all by knockout.
He's got a great respect for Morrison's power, as well he should.
Well, it's simple. Oh, man. I was just going to say, it's simple. He hits you at the left hook, you're gone. Most heavyweight...
But as soon as Morrison claimed the belt, a karmic boomerang overtook him. In June, he was forced to seriously tinker with Joe Hip. The down Native American held the punch and even resurrected after Duke's heavy right.
И даже воскрес после тяжелой правой герцога.
Having broken the jaws of Morrison's hands in battle, he finished in the 9th round on moral and strong-willed. Due to injuries, dreams of regalia had to be postponed. Returning to form, the Duke added 3 more stops to the asset, and the current series reached 8 in a row. By June of the 93rd year, Tommy finally took the place of a contender in the leaderboard of Double Bayou Bayou. Former Absolute World Champion George Foreman agreed to play the vacant belt of the organization with him. Back in the 70s, Big George became famous for epic confrontations with Joe Frazier. Only the great Muhammad Ali managed to stop him. The reputation of one of the most dangerous punchers in the history of the ring has not left the formalized to decades later. But contrary to the expectations of fireworks, Morrison had the best tactical duel of his career. Coolly keeping his distance and retreating, Tommy exploded from afar with a swift left. The age 4-man simply could not keep up with the 24-year-old Duke. Without sinking down the breathing tube and smashing the veteran on the approaches, Morrison measured every step, weighed every blow.
Surprising, he usually brawls.
Muhammad Ali did it. Exhaustion, all the legs away, and it just becomes a slugfest, a bomb.
At the finish line, Tommy confidently outpaced Foreman on the judges' cards and took a unilateral decision.
Jeopardizing his chances. He's throwing the punches. Nice uppercut. Gets out of there so he doesn't have
Foreman is looking at his opportunity to win the bout. And that is it.
Having won the most important victory, Morrison joined the elite club of champions. But the events that followed showed all the unpredictability of fist sports. The first defense was scheduled for August 1993 against fellow Rocky V Mike Williams. The fight broke down at the last moment when Williams refused to take a doping test and did not leave the locker room. The evening of the fights was saved by the local Johnny Man and the merry Tim Tomaszek. On his birthday, he, like an ordinary spectator, came to look at his favorite champion Tommy Morrison and managed to knock over several glasses of beer. Jumping into the ring for a couple of $1,000, Tim enjoyed every second of the performance.
He's trying to keep his left hand real high because he knows that hook. Getting his moment here, isn't he? And meanwhile, Tommy Morrison's starting to whack him with left hook.
Duke did not appreciate Tomasek's exit, and in the 4th round, made him another entry in the statistics. Tim didn't take offense at the defeat, cashing in his moment of fame on TV. In turn, Tommy was facing a money fight with Lennox Lewis for the prestigious WBC title. The last stop was to be the honored amateur Michael Bent, who scored a 10-1 record in the pros. In the tie of the match, Morrison quickly pinned Michael at the ropes and planted a left hook. Bent waited out the whirlwind of blows and responded with the best combination in years of performances. Having risen, referee Tommy's count was punched seconds later. The third fall was the last in the duel. Under a hail of blows from Bent, the Duke visited the surface 3 times in just 1.5 minutes, and lost by the rules of 3 knockdowns. However, he lost not only Natalia's gold, $8 million, and a title chance against Lewis have also sunk into oblivion. The pursuit of the long dollar ended in failure. On the other hand, while athletic youth was on his side, Morrison was able to return a series of 3 victories in the 94th. The watershed of the Duke's fate was the July fight with Ross Fury, who in the future will give the first defeat to Wladimir Klitschko. Tommy successfully started the fight in the usual attack and shook the purity at the ropes. But after emptying the gas tank, Morrison took a knee in the 6th round. He barely escaped the stop after the blockage in the 10th. The Duke, not without difficulty, stood up to the final gong, and the meeting ended in a controversial draw.
This was a very close fight. That is not a bad decision.
Irreparable damage has been done. Morrison went on a rampage for 6 months and got carried away with substance use. Tommy is a celebrity, a real star. But he's also a young guy who doesn't know how to handle it. Tommy liked to spend time with friends in clubs. Once at any local party, he was instantly surrounded by girls. My friends at the bar called me at night, saying, "Hey, you need to pick up your boyfriend. He passed out and is lying on the floor." We picked him up and threw him into the trunk of a pickup truck. Recovering only 8 months later, he continued to score serial knockouts over the controversial opposition, almost without preparation. In June of the 95th year, Tommy was offered to fight for the vacant and useless IBC belt with Donovan Roddick. Until recently, the Canadian was considered a first-class heavyweight with an intimidating blow, which rarely leaves fights to the judge. He did not disappoint, even at a late notification in the first minute, sending the Duke on all fours. In the 2nd round, Tommy equalized the odds with a counter uppercut with a standing knockdown. At the end of the 4th, Roddick got into trouble. But he managed to get out of the situation theatrically. Finally, in the 6th, the Canadian hit well and rushed to chase Tommy. Morrison smelled blood and ended the fight with a technical knockout. Having survived a fall at the start of the meeting, the Duke responded with a series of vigorous concussions. The key to victory has traditionally been a jewelry left hook. After shooting 4 finishes in a row, Duke got a dream fight with Lennox Lewis. With 23 knockouts in 27 victories, the Briton was considered one of the most technical boxers of the heavy category. A year earlier, he lost the title of WBC, and now only claimed the Morrison belt. However, the ring has put everything in its place. From the first moments, Lewis dominated the distance and with a powerful jab did not allow Tommy to get closer. The Duke spent his strength and tried to snap back. But in the 2nd round, the fight turned into a beating. In the 5th, the Americans were mowed down by a right uppercut. By the 6th segment, Morrison was fighting blindly from the fluff of a hematoma. He was on the floor again. Having risen from the knockdown, he tried to recover in the clinch and missed exactly the left side.
makes sense. Down goes Morrison again, and I wonder out of the fight. And that'll do it. A terrific performance.
Throughout the meeting, the Briton beat to defeat and held an undeniable advantage. The champion proved to be a warrior and surrendered the belt only when the referee made a decision for him. Losing to a fighter like Lennox Lewis meant nothing to the 27-year-old Morrison. But the terrible news that thundered in February of the 96th year crossed out his career.
There was a certain point in time in my life
that I lived a very permissive, fast, reckless lifestyle.
Reckless lifestyle.
Have more extensive tests run, and I was informed just a little while ago that those tests do in fact confirm that I have tested positive for the hive virus.
As an individual that had the opportunity to be a role model and blew it.
It's unthinkable, but in November of '96, Tommy went away from the Athletic Commission to Japan and performed again. Marcus Rody, who agreed to become the Duke's D-Mob Accord in the ring, did not last 2 minutes. After that, the Golden Boy went straight from the poster of the American dream in a spiral. Alcohol, drugs, and prison have become the new reality of a fighter who was recently compared to Frazier and Tyson. He disappeared for a long 10 years. Only at the turn of the century, unlike his former self, Tommy resigned himself and changed his ruinous lifestyle. In 2007, the world was shocked by the news of the possible fallacy of the old diagnosis. The new tests turned out to be clean. Now 38-year-old Morrison believed that he was not ill and immediately renewed his boxing license. When he returned, the terrible breast implants and bad appearance shocked the fans. Tommy had 2 professional boxing performances against newcomers. Both ended in stoppages. He managed to fight in the Ma, which was gaining popularity, having held several fights in Indian reservations. At the end of the 10th, his health deteriorated, and he finally left the ring. In the last years of his life, Morrison could not spend time in the only place where he was at peace with himself, in the gym. But he was able to maintain good relations with his sons, who, according to family covenants, became boxers. The brothers are strikingly similar to their father and inherited a crushing blow. Complications made themselves felt in the 2013, and by the summer, Morrison could no longer move independently. Tommy died on the first day of autumn. He was 44 years old. In the mid-90s, the whole world was at Tommy Morrison's feet. The young heavyweight confirmed his ambitions with a rolling left lateral. Since then, 42 knockouts out of 48 victories have been immortalized in the Duke's record, and he lost only 3 times. As an exceptionally worthy boxer, but unable to cope with popularity, the 2-time world champion burned through life like a rock star. And although he himself turned the image of an exemplary citizen into ashes within the ropes, Megan left a glorious mark. His tragedy should serve as an edification for future generations. Oh man, I was just to say it's Mills Lane, says Don T. Do that against. And there's the left hook, and down the hook by Ruddock, and they have hurt Morrison. Hook, raise it.